Thom Hartmann here on the news. You need to know this. Florida Governor Rick Scott's Democratic voter purge is ramping up, although he's now meeting some resistance from local election supervisors. In an interview with the Center for American Progress, Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections Susan Bucher said that her office received a list of 115 names from Governor Scott's office, identifying registered voters who Scott believed to be undocumented immigrants. But upon reviewing the list, Bucher concluded it was, quote, not credible, end quote, and refused to send out letters asking for voters to verify their citizenship status. Bucher also noted that Governor Scott's voter purge lists are relying on information that is a decade or more old. Back to Katherine Harris's day. One Florida voter identified as a non-citizen by Governor Scott was a 91-year-old World War II veteran who said he was flabbergasted when asked to prove that he was a U.S. citizen. It's now up to President Obama and the Justice Department to end this illegal voter purge by Governor Scott in Florida before the election is stolen in Florida for the second time in 12 years. In screwed news, CEOs are illegally stealing workers' wages. As CNN reports, wage theft complaints have increased over 400% over the last decade, with over 7,000 lawsuits alleging wage and hour violations against employers filed just in 2011. The complaints center on workers accusing their employers of not paying them for all the hours they worked or not paying overtime that they were entitled to. Some of the companies that have had suits filed against them are Walmart, Starbucks, and Bank of America. Yet another consequence of our corporate capitalism model, where executives are rewarded for squeezing whatever profits they can out of a company, including nickel and diming their workers, or outright stealing from them just to hit quarterly profit goals. Time to bring back business in the public interest. In the best of the rest of the news this morning, the First Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that the Defense of Marriage Act, which denies same-sex couples federal benefits, is unconstitutional. Essentially, the judges, two of whom were Republican appointees, ruled that by definition, a marriage between a man and a woman discriminates against gay and lesbian couples. Since the law was passed in 1996, this is the first time a federal appeals court has ruled against it. Last year, President Obama announced his Justice Department would no longer defend DOMA in court, prompting Speaker of the House John Boehner and Republicans to hire their own high-priced lawyer to defend the discriminatory law and paid him with your and my tax dollars. Ultimately, the Supreme Court will likely have a final say in this matter, just as they had the final say in approving interracial marriage and decriminalizing homosexuality. Stay tuned. The Koch brother-funded American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC, just lost one of its biggest fish. Walmart, the world's largest retailer, is now the 19th organization to drop its ALEC membership, following public outrage over ALEC-written Shoot First laws that have swept the country and are responsible for the death of Trayvon Martin in Florida. As the nation's biggest gun retailer, Walmart was instrumental in writing ALEC's Shoot First law, but is now fleeing the organization as more and more Americans wake up to the fact that corporations are writing our laws at these twice-a-year ALEC conventions. From ALEC to Governor Rick Snyder's so-called financial managers in Michigan, corporate America's pledged to spend over $1 billion in this election to elect Mitt Romney, our democracy has never been in more danger. What started as a student protest in Quebec is now turning into a mass movement all across Canada. On Wednesday night, in cities all across Canada, thousands gathered to show solidarity with striking students in Quebec and push back against austerity measures being pushed by the conservative Canadian government. This began when the Quebec government passed tuition hikes and cuts to education, prompting tens of thousands of students to take to the streets for months now. But the movement is now broadening, as one of the lead organizers, Derek O'Keefe, said, "We need to have an open and democratic discussion about the direction of our society. The current model, where governments give billions in tax cuts to profitable corporations and high-income earners and then plead poverty as they slash our social programs, is broken. The global anti-austerity movement is picking up steam." The Union of Concerned Scientists is out with a new report exposing big oil's strategy to pull the wool over our eyes when it comes to global climate change. Looking at 28 U.S. companies on the S&P 500 that have publicly expressed concern over climate change and carbon emissions, the UCS found that at the same time, these same companies, behind the scenes, were funneling huge amounts of money into causes and organizations devoted to discrediting climate change. Between 2007 and 2009, Just as Congress was debating crucial climate change legislation, the energy sector increased their lobbying by 92%, just enough to get a minority of Republicans in the Senate to filibuster legislation that would have put in place a cap-and-trade system to reduce carbon emissions. Corporations using their massive financial war chests to influence lawmakers used to be called bribery. Now it's business as usual in the post-Citizens United world, a world that is getting hotter and hotter with carbon dioxide now passing the ominous 400 parts per million milestone. And finally, a new report by Al Jazeera finds that detainees at Guantanamo Bay were forced to listen to Sesame Street music during interrogations that hoped it would break down prisoners. This coincides with the 2003 report that Sesame Street music was also used to soften up Iraqi POWs. So not only can Big Bird teach kids the ABCs, it's also America's secret weapon in the war on terror. And that's the way it is today, Thursday, May 31st, 2012. I'm Thom Hartmann on the news.